Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Hey, Deacon Mike, don't go getting ordained on August 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern. You know why? Joe Rogan is live on Netflix, all right? I skipped Cat Williams. I can't do this twice, man. I'm hosting a podcast here. Joe Rogan, Burn the Boats, live at Netflix, August 3rd, 10 p.m. Eastern. And a shocking development, I am scheduled to be home that day. That's good. This is Joe's third Netflix special. It's been a minute. His previous specials, Strange Times in 2018 and Triggered in 2016. They did share a trailer, or I'll call it a teaser. I think they used trailer. It's just some random things of Joe saying things like, "Don't get mad at me. You know why you came here. Feel that? That's some ride home arguments in the air." So they probably pulled that from an Austin show. No real clip, no real joke. Anyway, Joe Rogan, Burn the Boats, August 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern. The folks at Cracked went after Brendan Sha with the headline, "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans catch the world's worst comedy podcaster stealing the show's jokes." I guess they are not fans of Brendan, and they're bringing it. They write, "If Brendan Schaub could write a joke as funny as any of those on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, maybe he'd finally headline at Joe Rogan's club." One podcasting fan in the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia subreddit recently unearthed an old club of Brendan on the Joe Rogan Experience joking about Hulk Hogan and his hot dog skin. That made Rogan laugh. Cracked writes, "You can tell they're not fans. Schaub better count his blessings that Rogan doesn't watch Always Sunny. Otherwise, he'd have taken away the heavyweight title of least funny comedian whose career was derailed after Joe Rogan accused him of plagiarism from Carlos Mencia." Wow. The video is titled, "Failed Comedian Brendan Schaub Takes Credit for a Line That Sounds Pretty Familiar." Shows Brendan saying that a bodybuilder has Hulk Hogan hot dog skin. Rogan says, "Dude, hot dog skin is the best expression ever. When did you come up with that?" Brendan says, "I don't know, a while ago. That's how I describe Hulk Hogan." Cracked points out, as any Always Sunny fan will tell you, I'm a fan, I couldn't have told you this, D. Reynolds, a somehow more talented comedian than Schaub, was actually the person who came up with a description of Hogan's skin in 2009. The episode is "The Gang Wrestles for the Troops." Did you watch Hannah Berner's new special yet? She spoke to Variety, and they said, "In the special, you joke that bachelorette parties are like cults. Have you been to many? What's the craziest thing that's been expected of you?" Hannah said, "The funniest part about that is I was one of my first friends to have a bachelorette party. I was the bride, and that's when I remember this feeling of sense of power. Everybody was following me around. I was like, oh, this could be abused in the wrong hands. Then I started getting invites and seeing the amount of money involved. I love being a mouthpiece for the girls who were like, we don't want to go. Maybe your best friend wants to go, but this has become too much. We don't need to go to Capri." Hannah is close to her grandma, and we learn grandma is really involved in terms of people being able to talk about sexuality. She doesn't like when I curse, though. She's like, instead of saying that S word, could you say sugar? And she doesn't like it when I talk about farting or diarrhea, but I'm like, Nana, let's normalize it for the girls. We can't keep lying that we don't have stomach issues. She's the coolest grandma ever, but if my 83-year-old grandma thought that all of my material was perfect and made for her, then I'd be upset with my material. Fair enough. Marlon Wayans is going to play Baltimore. He caught up with the Baltimore Banner, and they were like, "Hey, Marlon Wayans, what's it like to perform in Baltimore?" Marlon said, "Real likes real. If you ain't funny, they ain't going to like it. It's no patience in Baltimore. They want the jokes, and I got them." Marlon only started doing stand-up in 2018. He said, "I think I was fearful in that when you do stand-up comedy, it's about telling stories about things that happen, right? And for me, it's like, what stories do I have to tell if 6 other people are already doing jokes about our life?" Louis Black's out on his final tour. He'll be doing some shows up at the National Comedy Center. Black said, "It's always been a thrill for me to come to Jamestown and Buffalo, spend time in this incredible museum, and perform for the National Comedy Center audiences. It means a lot to me to take the stage on this final tour for these 2 very special shows, performing for friends and fans who love comedy as much as I do." Journey Gunderson is the executive director of the NCC and says audiences here in Western New York have loved and appreciated Louis Black's comedy for decades, since he first performed at one of the earliest Lucille Ball comedy festivals in Jamestown back in the early 90s. On his final tour, it's an honor to bring him back for 2 final shows that we can share the experience together. Jeff Foxworthy recently played 2 shows in Nevada. It was 113 degrees. Jeff Foxworthy, in a half-ass impression of himself, said, "I was telling my wife, that's just unbearable. You need to quit doing such hot places. I pulled up my schedule. Oh, crap, I'm in Tucson in July." That was terrible, John. Are you slowing down, Jeff Foxworthy? Yeah, but not because I don't still love it. There's just other things I love a lot, too, like being a granddad. I still love being on stage. After 40-plus years of airports and hotel rooms, the thrill of those 2 things has gone away. I tell them now, you're paying me to fly out here and spend the night. I'm doing the show for free. That's the fun part. However, most hotel chains have cut back on the complimentary waffle bar Jeff says, you can't even get free coffee anymore. You know what's really crazy? Half the places no longer have room service. They're like, well, you can call downstairs and walk downstairs and get it. We're not going to bring it to you. Really? I'll pay you to bring it to me. I forgot to mention yesterday Beverly Hills Cop 4, which isn't even the title of the movie. The movie is called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. It's pretty good. I described it as good bad. It's a terrible movie, but it's entertaining. It's Eddie Murphy doing Beverly Hills Cop 40 years later. What do you think it's going to be? It's that. Is it Shakespeare? No. Is it even the Pop-Tarts movie? No. It's Eddie Murphy doing Beverly Hills Cop 40 years later. It's fine. There is one performer in the movie, though. I don't know how this person got this movie. This person cannot act. Awful. Worse than the Jeff Foxworthy impression I just did. I mean, that bad. But it's a good, bad movie. I think I stole that term from Bill Simmons. So it's a bad movie, but it's the good version of a bad movie. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. You should watch it. Don't forget, Monday is the big launch of that new podcast, The Artist. That's the one about the crazy serial killer with some flair, turns his evilness into art. Rated R for mature audiences only. Why don't you hit that follow button now so we can move up the charts a little bit? Nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Say no more. The Artist, wherever you get your shows. Jon Stewart and the rest of the late night guys are finally back to work. Hey, guys, where you been the last 10 days? I know it's nice to take July 4th weekend off, but like, are you covering the election? There's been kind of a news cycle here. Now, the Ballot podcast, no days off. Even worked the weekend. Been covering the election. Ballot, wherever you get your shows. Anyway, Jon Stewart was back at The Daily Show on Monday. He said, for a campaign based on honesty and decency, the spin about the debate appears to be blatant BS, and the redemption tour hasn't gone that much better. He then played clips of Biden's team scrambling to cover. We're told that the threat of Trump is so great and the stakes are so high that even bringing up these absolutely legitimate concerns about the president's ability to do the most vigorous job in the world for the next 4 years is enabling fascism, yet even the president doesn't seem particularly alarmed. To which I'll say to Jon Stewart, you know, we're told that the threat of Trump is so great that late night, including you, took a week off, dude. Come on. It's important or not. I know you had plans, but sometimes you got to work. I'm in broadcasting too. Been in broadcasting 30 years. Sometimes you got to go in on Saturday, John. Boy, Johnny Mac going after Jon Stewart for some reason. Stewart played a clip of Biden saying, as long as I gave it my all and did as good of a job as I know I can do, that's what it's all about. Stewart said, that's not what this is about. There are no participation trophies in endgame democracy, unless, of course, July 4th falls on a Thursday and you want to take the week off. I mean, then the stuff's not that important. Jimmy Kimmel, now he's excused. There's a reason Jimmy Kimmel wasn't on last week, aside from he took the summer off, but I'm not going to hammer Jimmy Kimmel for spending time with his 7-year-old son, Billy, who underwent his third open heart surgery back in May. Kimmel told Entertainment Tonight, Billy's doing great. He had open heart surgery. He's got the scars and everything, but he's just mentally right back where he was, which is crazy. Physically, we're going to have to be careful with him for a couple of months, but he's doing really well. Sarah Cooper, Sarah Cooper, fantastic in Pop-Tarts. I don't know what you think I was going to say. You probably were like, he's going to take some shot about her being TikTok famous for doing lame pantomime to Donald Trump. That is not what I was going to say. She was fantastic in Pop-Tarts. She's got a book coming out. It's called How Google Docs Knew I Was Getting Divorced Before I Did, and Other Stories by comedian Sarah Cooper. The synopsis says, whether it's in auditions, on dates, at work in the Google offices, or on the set of her very own Netflix special, Sarah Cooper knows what it's like to feel a little bit foolish. The result is a book that's relatable, self-deprecating, and darkly funny. You remember during the pandemic, Sarah Cooper had a Netflix special. That's right, she did. And from the world of the courts, Jay Johnston, who is said to play a pizzeria owner in the TV series Bob's Burgers, faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to civil disorder. This involved an event that happened in Washington one January a few years ago. Not looking to go there today. But, Your Honor, if it may please the court, I have two questions. First, have you ever seen Bob's Burgers, Your Honor? And, of course, the answer is no. Lawyers never ask a question that they don't know the answer to. And two, Your Honor, have you ever met anyone who has seen Bob's Burgers? The answer, of course, also no. That's your comedy news for today. I'm punchy today. See you tomorrow.